We will now call to order this special joint work session between the City Council and PHHD on Monday, July 27th, 2026, 5 p.m. Can we have a call of the roll, please? I believe so.
I say you, right? Mayor Donovan?
Here.
Councilman Niner?
Here.
Councilman Patterson?
Here.
Councilman Elliott? Here. Councilman Dewar?
Here.
All right. Quorum being present, we will now open it up. So we got approval of the agenda. Is there any discussion or changes that need to be made to the agenda? If not, the agenda will be approved by unanimous consent. And now we will begin the discussion with the Pleasant Hill Historic District. Welcome.
Thanks for having us. Want me to start?
Absolutely.
All right, well, first I'd like to say thank you very much for having us. I think it's going to be a good process, and I really look forward to working on a partnership. First, I'd like to introduce ourselves and our officers. Myself, I am Martha Jasny. I am the previous owner of Coffee and Teas, which everybody knows is possible. Which kind of was a secret up until very recently. I sold Coffee and Teas to Brian, my brother-in-law, who owns the building and owns Preston. So I no longer own the coffee portion. I have retired since then. And it is good. A couple things. I am not moving abroad. I know that rumor was out there. I'm not moving abroad. I am traveling a lot, and I am still around. I am still made a commitment to the Pleasant Hill Historic District, and I am still here. So I don't plan on going anywhere for quite a while. So that's me. And
I'll go around. I'm Bonnie Chambers. I own Casey Vintage Realty down the street on 1st Street. And for the Historic District, I am the Design Committee Chairperson and also on the Board of Directors for the Historic District. Hi everybody, I'm Julie Brown. I'm the Secretary for the Pleasant Hill Historic District. I also oversee the Farmers Market and the Longest Table event. Also help with the Piccadilly event, fundraising, a lot of fundraising activities. I also own Brown's Vintage and Variety over here on Veterans Parkway. Own 2 buildings downtown.
Hi, I'm Lisa Hoffman, and I own Willow Boutique on 1st Street. I'm involved in the Pleasant Hill Historic District. I'm on the board as the vice president. I also get involved in all the activities and help organize the farmers market, help with the Longest Table, Piccadilly, whatever you need help with. So, yeah, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for taking time.
Pat Clifford, and I'm the treasurer of the Historic District. I have Valley Peddler, and I live at 409 North Lake Street.
So I just want to give a few facts and things, a little bit of our history, not a big long history, but I will keep it very brief. What we have, most everybody knows who we are and kind of what we do, but we are a 501c3 nonprofit focused on preservation, economic development. We're chartered through the city with Missouri Main Street and Main Street America. Our mission is to preserve our historic district by encouraging investment, entrepreneurship through strong community connections. And our vision is to establish a downtown where residents and visitors experience historic charm and a vibrant destination. We do follow the National Trust for Historic Preservation 4-point approach to preservation and through organization, economic vitality, design, and promotions. By partnering with Missouri Main Street, we have access to resources, grants, and lots of training to help us to take and preserve and grow our downtown. Some of our 2025 accomplishments are, we had a successful cruise night event every month from May through October. Just a little helpful thing about cruise nights. Cruise nights is a self-sustaining event. So meaning that it pays for itself and we don't have to usually put much money into it. It's something that sustains itself. It's something for the community itself. So we don't really benefit a lot from that, but the community absolutely does. We've improved the look of downtown through gazebos, planters, lights, winter wonderland, and so much more down there. Picnic tables and furniture, gazebos and Adirondack chairs. The really cool part about that was we had some of it that was donated, some of it was in-kind donations, and some of it was the sweat of all of our volunteers to take and bring it together. We've enhanced our partnership with other groups and helped in events such as Chambers Poker Night or Trick or Treat, Thanksgiving meals, the Winter Wonderlands, community days, and we did the city walkabout with city council last year as well. Some of our major events are Farmers Market, August Table, Home Brew, and our Piccadilly Gala. Some of the groups that we partnered with this past year were the CID, the Community Betterment, the city, the school district, the chamber, the VFW, Optimist Club, and Michael Edwards Photography. A few fun facts. We had in 2025, we have logged 8,529 volunteer hours. When you do the math, that is literally a full-time job. And actually, I think it's a little bit more because you get vacation time. And nobody made a single penny on it in that respect. Our farmers market has been extremely successful. It is a market that is, it does make money, but the decision was made to put all that money back into the market. So all the events that we have, who's that guy? Casey Wolf, and music and different things, all that money goes back in. So none of that is considered a fundraiser for us. We've taken and we put all of that right back into our community. The longest table, we fed about 140 people at the longest table, sold out tickets fairly quickly for it, and every single product that we had was grown by our farmers market vendors. So it was kind of a highlight of everything that they did, to include the meat, everything. And it was all locally grown, locally roasted, and locally made. So it was a very successful event. Community days. An event that's near and dear to my heart. Community days, it's where 3rd and 4th grade come down to downtown, and we take and teach them entrepreneurship, community involvement, and things like that. We take and help the school take and organize that, and we decided, thank you Lisa, several years ago that we were going to feed kids. We thought, oh, maybe 100 kids, right? And 350 kids, teachers, and volunteers, and you have to do it all within about a half hour or better. It was quite the task, and we partnered as well with Inspire to help through that process. This past year, this is the first year we were able to do this. We not only raised enough money to pay for all the lunches and all the things that they had, sorry about that, thought I put it outside. And not only were we able to do that, but we were able to donate $1,300 to the middle school lunch program. I thought that was really amazing to be able to do. And when we, towards the end of the year, we're all done, we're like, yeah, how much is it? We're thinking, oh yeah, we'll be good. Yeah, it was like $7,500. So 2 grades, $7,500 was their school lunch debt that they had. So barely put a dent in it, but at least we were able to take and to help in that respect. So, so that was super amazing to do. Last year, we invested $35,000 into our downtown. In 2025 alone, that was, the pavilions, the Wonderland, the planters, the pavilions, all the things. We have a Piccadilly auction unit, a gala for ladies. And this past year, we raised over $23,000 in money to take and just put right back in things. A little bit of our goals that we have. We have some short-term goals and we have some long-term goals, right? So our short-term goals are to plan, organize, and to execute the events that are currently on the schedule for the rest of this year. And we are already mapping out our next year's events as well. The goal would be to finish the electric project for Graves Lot for the pavilions. And really, I think probably the most important, and one of the reasons I believe we're here today, is to work on a use agreement with the city to take and figure out how that looks for us as a partner with the city. To take and to have a use agreement in place, not just for the electric, but for the whole entire, the whole thing. So we have a complete use agreement, and the goal would be to have that done in place by the end of August is kind of what we're hoping for. Some of our long-term goals are to work with the city, economic vitality to help attract commerce, obtain grants for preservation, and to hopefully get more second-story accommodations. Hopefully we'll be able to partner with the city to develop, eventually, like to develop on Graves Lot a bigger pavilion like we had talked about and showed in the original
2013.
Thank you. Yes, the comprehensive plan. That would be, of course, my personal goal eventually would be to take and do that. So there's a place to gather, and a place for a spot to rest after the trail, green space, waypoint, restrooms, things like that, something way down the line. But I think eventually that's something, and that would be something that we would have to partner with the city to take and to work with in that process. But that is definitely a long-term goal. That's not something that will happen overnight or even in the next few years. So that is all I have about us and kind of looking at.
I have a question. So when you say, because I envision something about the pavilion, so just think about Lee Summit's Pavilion downtown on 3rd Street. Is that what you're talking about, something to that?
Absolutely.
I mean, absolutely not
Yeah,
that, to that scale.
Yes, absolutely not. No, more of a pavilion that is, goes about half the, what was the size? 40 by 80, I think. Is your question? I think it's like
But a
40 by 80.
structure.
Yeah, a structure of some sort that eventually in say phase 2 could have bathrooms on one end and watering station for little animals or for dogs and for people with the water bottles and things, a place to lock up bikes, and a place for waypoint signage that talks about everything that Pleasant Hill has to offer down there in that particular space. So, and then green space towards the front. So when you pull down, maybe towards the back, and green space towards the front where people can gather. One really cool part of kind of Bonnie's baby was, when we talked about wanting to do this pavilion, it was not something that was, it wasn't like our brand new idea. It had been in the comprehensive plan, but we thought if we put something there, will they come? And I don't know if I've ever really driven by except at 5 in the morning when I'm in a coffee shop. Do I not see people there? Except for that homeless guy, that doesn't really count. Right? So, but our community, our trail goers, and different people have resoundingly told us by the use of what Graves Lot down there. It's a space that's been vacant for 30 years, and it's now something that has an amazing life to it in a heartbeat. meet. And it's a space to gather, and it's a space that is gigs and helps bring the community together. So I think it was kind of a really good experiment to be able to see exactly what that was able to do for us. Hope that answers your question.
Yep, it does.
Any other questions from council?
I think next was the discussion about a use agreement.
Yeah.
So, I know, like, we had drafted one, Lindsay had helped us draft one, then during the council meeting, it became just an electric only. You all did not sign that one, correct? So kind
That is
of,
correct.
so we were thinking we could kind of maybe start back at square one and kind of develop this together so that we're all on the same page heading into an approval. So Lindsay, I don't know if you wanna kind of help walk us through the components that we need to make sure that we have.
Sure, yeah.
And maybe we can start there.
Would you like a list or just starting with one topic and, okay. So first, I mean, you know, there is the fee of using the facility. That could be zero, it could be a range of items, but that is something, to consider too. This is still city property, so the city still has the authority to use it as it, you know, uses its own property. And that kind of flows into the next one, which is, are you all going to be required to submit events in advance? Do we need to kind of, you know, block dates off of, we know it's gonna be around this kind of time, who gets priority scheduling? You know, if you guys have an event scheduled and somebody else comes in, well, is it, that date's used, right? But then, you know, how does that kind of work? So those are the two, I think, kind of top items.
Well, and just to kind of dovetail off that, so we enter into a use agreement with one organization, does that not allow any of the other organizations in town to take advantage of that space?
Well, and that's why I suggest including in there, how does the space get used if the historic district is not using it, so that we clarify that yes, we are able to still schedule other events, or it's just completely open and the public can go use it, you know, however that is.
Right, from our standpoint, 100%, we're not trying to lock it down or lock anyone out of it. This is always inclusive. Everything that we do, we want to include other groups too. I think maybe there might be an opportunity for the city to have the lead on keeping a calendar. I think you already do. When you schedule your events out, and then we schedule our events out, and then other groups do the same. So I think there has to be some central way to coordinate things of that nature, so we don't schedule two different things on the same day.
So, like, one of the questions we discussed is, I think the great thing is those are two of our top call-outs as well. So, with events, with the usage, if we agree with that, then we could just submit what we have at once and maybe eliminate coming to council for
any
approval
specific
for, you know, is that possible?
I think so.
Because that's the way that I would see a usage agreement is, as long as we're communicating on the dates, oh, you already have something planned, then we can't do ours then, but we work together, and then, of course, all the voids, if someone else wants to do something, then those are open, you know, that's. Green.
And so it first come, first serve agreement.
Yeah, kind of
everybody's
work together on
understanding.
that, yeah.
And she's saying not go through council, but it will go through the city, so everybody's involved.
Well, yeah, but you know what I'm saying,
Right.
we're there today.
You don't have to
That we don't have to
change
come to
it.
council meeting and go through every single event like before. So, kind of have this agreement, we're gonna use the space, and then here are our dates for 2027, this is what we're thinking, whoever the contact is there. Oh, great, maybe it's Kylie, I don't know, that meshes up with what we have, or we have a conflict, and we work around that, you know?
I think we need to have that. I think
Yeah.
not just for PHHD, because we've had other scheduling conflicts as well. So
Yeah.
I think we need to have some kind of calendar for these types of things.
And then it's clear, has more clarity for any other organization as well, you know? And people can be more strategic about what they plan as well, so they're not doing the same events or something similar too close together. Like, we can all be strategic about what we provide for the community, you know?
So then also I have we'll do just a quick one, how about that? So term, I have first that the term would be for as long as we're both in agreement to use it, and then that either party can terminate, for cause or convenience, which just means for whatever reason, any reason, doesn't matter, 30 days notice to the city or to you all for termination, and that's just pretty basic, standard, yeah. And then I also have, and with that in the event of termination, the district shall remove all property it placed on Gray's lot. So that kind of dovetails into, it is still the city's property, so you all put gazebos on it, whatever, some of that stuff, that's what the discussion is for. I don't have the authority on that, but is that your all stuff still, or does it come over to the city, how that kind of stuff would work?
Yeah, I think that's one of my questions is, the things that are happening to beautify downtown, is that now part of the city, or is that a situation where you're going to maintain those? Those are yours, and if this contract was to be terminated, but is it gonna be a situation where, the lot is gonna go back to however it looked before all of this happened?
Well, as I see, that big pot out there, I'm not taking it home. It took a crane and a lot of people to do. So some of the stuff is, like that kind of thing, that's something obviously that would then stay here, because that's not something that we can really do. As far as smaller things, like say Adirondack chairs and things like that, those are things that are easily movable. Those are things that make a whole lot of sense. It's kind of like when you sell a home, most people don't take their pool table just because it's so hard to move. So I'm not really sure what that means for the pavilion. I guess it has more to do with what the city would like us to do at that point. If it is, if it's something that the city wants us to remove, and depending on why and everything.
I think the why is the big,
Yeah.
if it was, oh, you sold the property to someone and they're gonna, then of course, we're gonna have to do something, get rid of it, but
I
I
think for
can't imagine.
paperwork purposes, we own and maintain all these improvements. And then, terminates, then we make a decision, we just donate that to the city. It just depends.
So what you
Right.
need- so-
That would happen.
And I think this is part of why I'm asking that, because if it's a situation where those are your gazebos, if something happens and a board falls off and hits somebody in the head, right, that's why I'm asking that question, right, is, if it's a situation where it's city property and it's under the city insurance or whatever, that, and the city's going to maintain it or whatever, that's where that conversation comes in.
I believe in the original agreement, it was in there that we were required to maintain the pavilions and things. So if a board fell off of a pavilion, I would say that would be, that our insurance would be the one that took care of that, because that would be under us. We do have insurance, and obviously that is something that we will need an agreement with on whatever the decision is that's necessary to carry, whether an umbrella policy above and beyond takes care of that. So I literally have silenced this even, and I do not disturb the whole 9 yards. I don't understand why it is ringing. So that's kind of how I would assume that would play out. Is that how everybody
I
else
think
would
it's a
feel?
joint liability because it's a shared asset, right? So if it's go ahead.
No, sorry, that's what I was wondering, is like, do we need to are there minimums from a city aspect that need to be met as far as a liability requirement?
So this is a large conversation for this group, but the city has sovereign immunity, which basically means that for specific situations, the city has no liability. The city has insurance, I'll say, we have insurance that covers us up to the sovereign immunity limits, which are set by state statute. So when I work on stuff like this, my general recommendation is going to be for you all to have insurance at sovereign immunity levels, which is, it changes every year, but right now it's 3.6 million, and just under 600,000 for any one injury. And so that's what I recommend. And that's, you know, with insurance, brokers, that kind of changes a little bit sometimes depending on risk, but I generally start at recommendation of sovereign immunity levels.
So that's why the 3.6, okay?
Yes,
Here,
those are
I
set,
would pass that.
those are set by the
This is
state
what we
based
have.
on calculations and formulas. They increase a little bit every year.
And we had reached out to our insurance company to kind of see what their recommendation was. And if I'm reading this correctly, I think it's 2 million was kind of the minimum that they suggested, so.
And I guess we would have to then look at our policy isn't quite that much, but, would then an umbrella policy above and beyond that to get us to that point, I guess we would have, that's something that we'll have to figure out.
All would be dependent on exactly the insurance, but yeah, that could work.
I kind of wanted the wording shored up a little bit about, and I'm just gonna use the gazebo, but I'm kind of blunt, so I'll just lay it out there. But let's just say you guys get mad and say, yeah, we're out of here. I don't want you to just go down now and rip out the gazebo because you don't want the city to have it, but I do feel like it's your responsibility to maintain it, but at the point that we dissolve, I guess you wanna say, interest, I think anything that's built on there as a structure, not your chairs and all of that, but anything that's put into the foundation, into the ground as a structure should remain. And then it's up to the cities to whether or not we still want those.
To that point, if, I don't know how to think about that, but my thought process would be is that, let's say we do, and we say we're taking our Matchbox cars and we're going home. Obviously, we would return the lot back to the condition that it is, you know, sod growing, that type of thing. So there wasn't big gaping holes that small children would fall into, that kind of stuff. I mean, I think that's something that would definitely be, you know, reasonable for sure, so.
So one of the things that I used to be president of the soccer association, and they had a use agreement with the city for the soccer complex. We put in, sprinkler system, right? They maintained the sprinkler system, so.
The city?
No, the soccer association put in the sprinkler system, they maintained it, and, you know, but the fact of the matter is, now that it's, like, that is now city property that they're maintaining. And that's part of I think, the being able to use that area, right? Anything that you're adding to that area gets incorporated into, like, all right, so now this is what Gray's Lot looks like. This is part of Gray's Lot. And because if the soccer association was ever to say, hey, we found, you know, more property on 7 Highway and we're gonna, you know, have all of our games over there, they had better not rip out that sprinkler system, right? Because, and so, so I think that's kind of where we're at with it, right? As far as, you know, hey, you know, now that these things are here, they're, you know, it's now.
They're part
that's
of the real property, they're
I
not.
Correct.
feel like they would
And
stay
that's
unless you
right.
needed them gone, is kind of how I feel like.
Right.
You know,
And I
that, to
think
me,
that-
that's the mutual agreement is, well, if you want them to stay there because they look great, people use them, that's great, that's what we want people to do.
That's what we want.
But if you need them to leave because someone bought the property, then we would need to do that, you know?
Yeah, I think that would be
Right.
an obligation. for
And
sure.
honestly, the temporary nature of it and those discussions came from presenting that to council and getting that feedback. We were told many times to keep it temporary as much as we could, and it got gray and different when we adhered them down to cement.
Anytime you put a foundation in,
Yeah.
it's no longer temporary.
Yeah,
Right.
ish, and so we could have them out this afternoon too.
I know, but it's still
I
not
know,
temporary.
I know, so yeah, it's that gray area that we haven't been in and explored before, but it is not the intent of anyone here to ever have to take those unless y'all say, we've got a much bigger project coming, you need to get those off. That would be the situation that would precipitate that.
And I'm sure that can get wrote in to, it will be wrote in.
Yeah.
Same thing, if the electrical gets approved and it's run underground and stuff, we wouldn't be ripping that out and saying, okay,
No.
we're leaving, we're taking that out, just like the sprinkler system.
similar.
I mean, bottom line, we want the same thing for our community. We want a
Absolutely.
nice
Oh, yeah.
place where people can gather and, you know, Martha, I know you're there early, but when you were saying that, it's so interesting, because yes, every day I come to work, I come a little later than you, get to sleep in. But there is always a mom and her kiddos or her friends in the gazebo, and or in the chairs over my building, and it's just so cool, you know, because they never had a place to sit before.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's nice.
What else needs to be in that?
Okay. Relatedly, any additional structures, whether temporary or permanent, shall be subject to the prior approval of the city.
Right there.
Always, yeah.
Okay. And then we talked about this a little bit, but outside of, well, I guess inclusive, I have currently that the city shall maintain grazed lot, that's regular grass cutting, snow or ice removal, debris not associated with district events. And then the district will maintain and keep in good repair the gazebos and any other structures that are approved by the city.
Yes.
That's the plan.
Kind of some of the same stuff, but in different words, like lawyers. The district shall not material alter the condition of grazed lot without the consent of the city. That would be like ripping all the grass kind of stuff. And then we talked about this, but the use granted in this agreement shall be non-exclusive. The city reserves the right to utilize grazed lots for its own purposes and the right to allow other persons and entities to utilize grazed lot with no notice to the district. And then, you know, we agree it will use its best reasonable efforts to not schedule double events. All codes, structures, events must conform to all applicable city codes, standard. And then the district shall maintain grazed lot immediately before, during, and following events in a clean and tidy manner, and shall ensure that all trash, clutter, debris, personal property are removed within, I had 24 hours. I don't know if that's a crazy amount of time or not. Okay, that is everything I have for uses. Then we get down to electricity. So the district may add electricity to the gazebos by connecting to the existing electric box on the west side of grazed lot. I believe that's correct. The district shall ensure that all electrical materials, all that equipment are underground or otherwise secure to prevent injury and hazards. And then the district shall not modify the existing electric box without the consent of the city. The district shall maintain and keep in good repair all electrical equipment, and then the district agrees to pay for the district's use of electricity on an annual basis. I think this one was just kind of left to how we can figure it out based on events and things like that, but I do have the district in the city shall cooperate to calculate the applicable costs of electricity.
So I went and did some research, found the electrical, little way there. I did a cost analysis for the lights that we're gonna put up and the cost. And in the highest rate area, it's somewhere in California, not here. It was a average of $12.50 a month would be the electric use that we would use through that piece there. So I would make suggestion that we took and that's $150 a year. Payable at the beginning of the year, if that's something we could do to not exceed that. But obviously, as rates change, you know, it could change and be something much higher. But I think if we do that as an average, or the highest average that there is, I think that more than compensates for that particular part of it. So, and I think, I just don't want to get into, this person, they can use this and all that kind of stuff. That's, I think we just do a set rate and do it and have to pay it all. We give you the years to be done. I think it's, exactly.
Bill or anything like that.
I think that simplifies it.
Sounds good.
I mean, if we're only talking $150 a year, I mean, do you even need to worry about it?
Yeah, I was
This is
shocked.
my
I
question.
was shocked. It can be low in some of the areas. It's $2 a month.
Yeah,
They're
I
literally
mean-
can lights.
I'm
There's a
kind
good
of on the
chance.
same page you are, Don. I mean, you paid more than $150 for the gazebo. If you're gonna do, which I hope that if that long-term becomes a midway point between short-term and long-term for the pavilion, because I'm very excited about that. Yeah, I don't have it. When I first thought about it, I thought, yeah, who's paying for the electricity, because that's not a city responsibility, yada, yada, but there's been a lot of time go by that I've had time to think about it, do a little research, not as much as you have, but just talk to people, and $150 is a drop in the bucket.
Yeah, and I mean, to me, it's a situation where, you know, they're adding stuff to city property, and that's our, you know, like, in return, like, hey, there's, you know, we're gonna do our part for it as well, and, but.
It just levels up everything.
We're
I
getting
mean, it's little things like
Yeah.
having music at the farmer's market, now they can plug in, they can be, it's just closer, you know, and just a better ambiance, a better emotion, and.
Makes Christmas a lot easier too.
Yeah.
A lot of plugging in at Christmas and a lot of
chords.
and you have to stay down and make safe and.
Oh, yeah.
But the evening lights are gonna be on a timer though, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yep. You don't need them on all the time.
That's it.
The homeless guy like them left on.
And our Christmas runs that way too, we have them all on that time.
Yeah, he's been here a
Very
long
sad.
Where does he sleep?
Yeah, where does he?
He used to sleep in between when the build moved down here, that was, I think he got run off of there, but he's been here as long as back when I worked here, I used to go give him granola bars and stuff.
Somebody lives on that hill behind, that shop, the Shoemaker building, if anybody knows where that's. Where the parking lot is, the extra overflow parking lot, somebody lives up there, I don't know if it's the same person, I've heard reports that there's someone living back in there.
Okay, is there,
So just a few general provisions, general contract stuff, general government contract stuff. The agreement is not transferable to anybody else. If you guys wanna transfer it, you gotta let us know and we can negotiate with them. This is a legal thing, but the district shall not utilize the use of Grace Lot as cause for an easement by prescription. You're only using it under these terms.
for sure,
The district agrees and understands that Grace Lot is currently and will remain the property of the city. The district agrees to indemnify the city for any acts by the district, its personnel, its directors, and any members of the public on utilizing Grace Lot under a use that the district has approved, not just like anybody's over there, but we're at an event from the district, member of the public there, that you've all agreed to indemnify the city for. And then we talked insurance. There's a lot more detail on the draft agreement with insurance, but basically that you have to maintain insurance. You can't just get it and then cancel it. We want you to keep it. That the city would be an additional insured on the insurance, and then more legal stuff, that it wouldn't waive any sovereign immunity from the city. But those are all, we can adjust if any of those are concerned. We can bring them up with the insurance guys. And then this agreement is subject to the laws of the state of Missouri. Any legal issues that arose from it would be in Cass County. And then this is the entire agreement. There's no other oral things, so if you guys see it and there's something not in there, it needs to be in there. And yeah, that's it. But again, if there's something that's not covered in here that somebody thinks about, it needs to be in here if it should be, so.
I don't think there's anything else for our original.
Yeah, I think that insurance is where we've had questions. Yeah, the insurance will be the most challenging part because we wanna make sure that it doesn't become cost prohibitive to us for that. I mean, if someone else is throwing in they have their own insurance, we're not liable for anything that.
Yes, only for district events at Grace Lot.
And then the gazebo thing, I think, was where it became great to me. If the board falls off the gazebo
well,
and hurts
yeah, but I think that's part of the discussion of, so is that now city property or district property, right? Because if it's city property, the city insurance takes care of it. No, like anything that gets added on like that would then become.
But if we're not maintaining it and something happens, then our insurance is not going to cover that.
Right.
So that's where
Figure that out.
And maybe that's something that you guys can discuss with your insurance people, we can discuss it with ours and kind of see where we can meet in the middle.
Yes. What about timeline for all of this, so we can set some timelines on how to achieve the next steps, that we can, move along nicely.
I mean,
I'll have a
she pretty
draft
much,
tonight.
yeah, she pretty much made the changes as we went. So it would be, up to council on if you want it on your next council agenda, it can be done with one vote. It doesn't need to be on multiple meetings unless you all want it to be, but.
So, if
I think we should allow them plenty of time to review it.
well, that's what, my thought was, let's get it over to you to view first, and then if you're in agreement with it, then we'll bring it to council, and then have council review it, and then if council's in agreement with it, they can approve it, and if not, then we'll go back to the drawing
As soon
board.
as you get it to us, we can take and, we can within a few hours have the whole board vote and approve. And go through the process and have it signed. It's not something that would take, we've moved very quickly.
So feasibly, we'll have it at the next council meeting.
Yeah. I want
Yeah.
you all to take a look at it first though,
Yes.
and make it so that way you're comfortable with it. Because, we can say, yes, we agree to this all day long, but if it's not what you
No,
guys
exactly.
want,
We
then-
definitely want to
We
read
were
it.
able to, have it, the board approve it by the 5th, that could, and I'm not saying we have to wait till the 5th, but
Just if
assuming
have
we
it on
get,
the next
if,
council meeting.
that would be the next, the timeline to get it on the next council meeting, that's a Wednesday prior.
Yeah. That's what you said.
Yeah, that would, August 5th would be the,
One thing we might wanna put on there it's the old section 5GH area about, removing things after events. We call out the structures, which are the 2 gazebos, but then we have 4 picnic tables over there with, we don't wanna have to remove all the other stuff every time too, so I wonder if we need to call out the rest of the goodies.
So, I was mostly thinking temporary structures like the pop-up tables and kind of things that come up.
Okay.
So other,
Event special items.
Event-related items.
Yeah.
There we go.
Gotcha.
Otherwise, it becomes a lot of work.
Learning, you gotta store it.
Yeah.
Space.
It's a very small handball. You can even have a few fingers cut off.
Yeah.
Long as that's what it's
okay, is there anything else that we need to?
Can we, just because I want to make sure the minutes are reflective, because we did talk about, I guess I want to hear from council, so I can make sure it's in here, that are you all okay with them submitting, I guess, a list of events, like at the beginning of the year, so that they get on the calendar? Like, that was their idea, but I want to make sure it's in the minutes appropriately, if that's what council so desires, so that each individual event doesn't have to come back. I think that's what you're asking, is that correct?
Yeah.
I would prefer that.
Yeah.
And, well, now to piggyback off that, we would attempt to have all of our events communicated at once. However, as the year goes by, we might have, oh gosh, we want to do this event. So as long as there's a liaison, a communication.
so I've written, the district shall submit requests for the use of Grace Lot through the established city reservation process, which shall be available on a first come, first served basis.
Yes.
So the start of the year is great, but if you need to,
Yeah, sometimes you go, oh my gosh,
She's so Shelby. I was
And
like, well,
just
that needs
double
to
checking
change,
it.
but she said Shelby.
Right, she said. I thought I heard the same
The
thing.
difference between Shelby and
Shelby.
I just wanna make sure that those approvals are okay to be done at the staff level and don't need to, like, the initial list doesn't need to come to council, it can all go through staff
And that was my
They're not
intention.
closing roads.
Well, and that's exactly what my
Yes.
intention was, if we need to close roads or something like that, that has to happen, whatever, whatever needs to happen, yeah.
Agreed, because,
It's just, you still have to comply with city codes, is really
the
what we're
policy
getting at.
is street closures requires, 100% sign off from all businesses, no matter what their business hours are, correct?
Yeah.
Because our business hours are beyond our customer hours.
Yeah, so anything that would fall under that special event, like road closure, things like that would still need to come, but.
That would come to council for their decision on it.
Right.
But I
decided just grace lot itself.
yeah, and I do have in here, all district events shall be subject to the approval of the city, but that's just meeting city code, things like that, yeah.
Yeah.
If you have, an unmitigated tons of people that, I have a problem, but.
One thing that
So,
just occurred to me,
council-
do we have, I'm so sorry, do we even have farmer's market in here anyway? I mean, we do use the parking lot and Grace lot for the farmer's market.
We
Have it been
Bounce
closing?
houses,
Yeah, sometimes we have stuff.
Birds. Wings of Love,
Yeah, birds,
Mhm.
things.
I guess I would follow the
Casey
use
Wood.
agreement.
Well, typically I had closed Second Street, I did it this year because the new layout of the parking lot kind of changed.
But when we
Customer
came to
parking?
council, that was on there, was Grace Lot and
Yeah,
Lot,
it was.
both things were approved, like that, to me,
So do
that's
you want
already
to
been
say,
approved.
that's the question, shall we still come back to council
and
for the farmer's market?
future years.
Because we're requesting use of both.
I would say because you're adding the Second Street lot, yes. But again, that's usually a one-time deal that you come for the whole season, right? So,
More so, the Grace Lot is approved, it's the Second Street that we need to approval.
correct, right, yes.
Thank you, I just wanted to make sure.
Can I give you a range for you guys? I would love to see you guys work with the city, partner with us, and get new lights downtown.
We love that too.
I just think that would.
Wait, hey, we got parking stripes, that's. Now we'll have lights to see where we're parking.
There you
at.
go.
People can really
Yeah.
see how terrible I park.
Yeah, it was so exciting, thank you for that. My eyes are already getting bad, so it was some bad parking.
Are you envisioning new like street lamps or like the lights that cross the street?
I don't know, I envision like, and I've told Nikki this, when we do like the UTV parade, it's like a Hallmark moment.
Yes.
And if we just had the old-fashioned street lights going down, the sidewalk or whatever,
But we need it
on Grace Lot, whatever.
We've attempted to do other things with lights that were prohibited, it didn't work out because of the engineering of the lights, they're getting old, so
Oh,
they're
yeah,
too
no,
heavy
it's
to
gonna,
hang the
that's why I
lights,
say it's gonna
or they're
take
too
a
low and
partnership.
fire trucks can't come through, so we
One of our
want
thought
something.
processes was to put, cafe lights down the sidewalks. And to do that, we can't do on the telephone poles because the poles that are there, because they might not be structurally sound enough to do that, because. So we took a look and it was over $40,000 to take and just to put, uprights to do that. So that is something that we have looked into and will entertain down the road, for sure. It's something that, I think we absolutely need to look at.
But you're right, I think it has to be worked with the city, like, it has to be a
Yeah.
joint collaboration.
I would like to see something like that that matched our street signs.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, that'd be amazing.
I think you guys have done amazing work, so I do wanna give you kudos for that.
Thank you.
We're tired.
We're tired. We keep going away.
Need a nap.
Okay, is there any other comments, questions, concerns?
No, thank you guys for coming and
Yeah,
talking
Thanks for
about it.
having
thank you, great.
Do we need a vote to adjourn?
Yes, please.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. I guess,
I guess,
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Any opposed? Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you all.
Appreciate it.